Hi everyone, I'm David Zito, and welcome to another Zito Home DIY. Since Valentine's Day is coming up, I'm going to surprise Blair with a heart-shaped box made out of birch plywood.
Since this is my first attempt at making a box, I decided to keep the design simple. By keeping all of the sides straight, all I needed to use was a table saw and a miter saw for most of my cuts. I picked up a 3/4 inch piece of birch plywood. It was relatively inexpensive, and I really liked the look of the grain for the exterior of the box. I settled on making the box 4 inches tall. This will allow me to make any adjustments or corrections if I need to, without compromising the size of the box. The next thing I do is mark out the locations of where I'm going to make the cuts. This will make up all of the sides of the box, and doing it this way makes it easier to manage. I use a miter saw to cut a straight edge into the wood. I think doing it this way makes the next process easier when I try to bevel the edges. Now that I have all of the sides cut out, the next step for me to do is to cut a bevel along the edges where the pieces connect. This will give a flush and clean look all around the box. To do this, I set the blade on the table saw to the right angle. I then make several passes along the edge of the wood until I'm satisfied with the angle. This would have been easier and safer if I had a cross-cut sled. I plan on building one for future projects, but for now, I'll just be extra careful. Another thing that I have to get is a dust collection system. As you can see, dust is just going everywhere and it is creating a big mess. After beveling all of the edges along the sides, I'm going to make rabbet cuts on the top and bottom edges. This way, the lid and the bottom will sit recessed within the box. It's now time to glue all of the pieces together. I'm going to use Gorilla Wood Glue. It's the same glue I used for a previous project, the doggy bunk bed. Please be sure to check it out if you haven't done so already. I'll provide a link in the description below. This small piece that I made is to join the two pieces together at the bottom corner of the heart. This is because my table saw can only bevel up to a 45-degree angle. This corner piece requires a steeper angle which my tools cannot perform. In the middle, I also made a roughly cut piece of wood in the shape of a heart for the interior of the box. While the glue is curing, this helps it maintain its shape. Since the box is in the shape of a heart, I can't use traditional clamps to keep it in place while the glue cures. Instead, I'm going to use tape and secure all along the sides of the box while using my hands to make sure that it is flush and symmetrical. Now that I physically have the shape of the box, I can make an outline on this piece of wood and fabricate the lid and the bottom. Once again, I'm going to use the table saw to make these cross cuts. Even though these are straight cuts, because of the different sizes and shapes of the heart, a miter saw would not have worked in this situation. Because this isn't a through cut, I had to use a jigsaw in order to get this piece out. A bandsaw would have been a better tool to use in this situation. I am definitely saving up to get one of those in the future. To get the bottom and lid recessed into the box, I'm marking out where the cuts will be for the rabbet joints. Using the same process, I slowly and carefully cut out the edges and creep towards the marking. That way, I won't accidentally remove too much of the material. After fabricating the lid and bottom, I glued the bottom to the main part of the box and clamped it down for 24 hours. Next, I use wood filler. This is for the holes and seams all along the edges of the box. After sanding this down, it will sit flush all along the edges. After the wood filler has dried, I sanded down all of the edges with a 40 grit sandpaper. This is so that I can remove any of the imperfections and trim that's jutting out all along the side of the box. After that, I used a 400 grit sandpaper to smooth out the surface. I decided to add a decorative handle onto the box, so I drilled a hole in the center of the lid. We're going to stain the box with a very dark color. We have used this stain before in our other projects, and I think this color will give the box a rustic look that my wife would enjoy. Finally, the last thing we're going to do is apply a polyurethane clear coat over the entire box. This also adds a layer of protection over the stain, and it gives off a nice glossy finish for the entire project. After letting it dry for 24 hours, this is the result. I loved how the box turned out, especially since this is the first time I've ever built one. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up. That'll definitely help support our channel. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. And finally, if you want to see Blair's reaction when I surprise her with this gift, please head over to our Instagram at ZitoCo. Thanks, take care.